I don't know if you saw Disney's Wish, but I did, and I had some thoughts about that. You know what I actually did is I listened to the entire soundtrack to the film. I'm a big music buff, and let's just say it doesn't quite measure up to Disney music of the past, those of the Sherman Brothers, or Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, or even Lin-Manuel Miranda of just a few years ago. Let's do a direct comparison between some of those here on That Park Place. On That Park Place Live this Tuesday, we had a discussion about the difference between the lyrics to Part of Your World and the lyrics of This Wish, the prestige track from Disney's latest animated feature, which is currently not doing so hot at the box office. It wasn't doing so hot at the box office last week either, but here we are. Anyways, our panel had a lot of thoughts. In one of the strange aspects of this job, I got to divert everyone's attention away from Disney news to talk about Disney creative very specifically. So let's get into that conversation right now. Maybe we are going to go ahead and do this, actually. Let's go ahead. We're pulling an audible here right at the start of the show. We're going to go ahead and talk about the lyrics to Part of Your World, which I'm convinced might be the pinnacle of Walt Disney songwriting. I'm of course willing to accept that maybe I'm not thinking about the entire catalog here when I point this out. This is 1989. Howard Ashman, may he rest in peace, and Alan Menken. Beautiful music by Alan Menken. Of course, we're going to be talking about the lyrics here. There's a few concepts before we get into this that I want to point out. The first off is iambic pentameter. Lou, Culture, Vash, any of you want to take a stab at explaining what an iamb is?
I did a song lyric once that went, I learned this art of poetry at my dear father's knee, so if my pentameter ain't quite iambic, blame daddy dear, not me. So that was
That
a
one,
that
that's a
was
good
one I
one
wrote.
though.
That was a musical that I did once upon a time, but that's
But
a
it's
long
got flow
story.
to it. So
I hope
it's
so.
the whole idea of an am is I am, an am is basically a unit of pronounced words or a unit of pronounced vocalization that makes sense. A good one would be, shall I compare the two summers day? Iambic pentameter. It has a rise and fall that flows. Or another one that's good would be, now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat. It makes sense. It flows. So we've got that. We've got internal rhyme, which is where of course, you've got
Yeah.
external and internal rhyme. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete?
Yep.
You have a line that flows here. You have rhyme here. This isn't really where it gets amazing. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. You've got rhyming and alliteration. I've got who's its and what's its galore. When thingamabobs, I got 20. We got a rhyme here between this one and this one. Who cares? No big deal. I want more. We have a flow. We have triplets. We have all this thing. We have a song that is a classic Broadway I want song. This establishes who the main character is. This
Yep.
establishes what they want. This establishes what they do not have now. This is quintessential Broadway. So, okay, let's start with the pre-chorus. I want to be where the people are. I want to see them dancing. Okay, we have what she lacks because she doesn't have fins. Which, by the way, when she gets to flipping your fins, you don't get too far. We have three Fs
Yep.
all in a row. Legs are required for jumping, dancing. Okay, it flows. Strolling along down what's that word again? Street. We have the same thing following. Walking around on those. What do you call them? Oh, feet.
There
It
you go.
sounds like he's screwing around, but really what he's doing is tying in this same sentiment, this same rhyme, this same
Right.
thought over and over again. Up where they walk. Oh, she doesn't have fins. She needs to walk. She needs to run. Uh, Here's a great one where they stay all day, internal rhyme, in the sun, wandering free, wish I could be. There's an internal rhyme here,
Yep.
part of that world. If you guys aren't understanding what I'm saying here, there is an incredible lyrical density here to what sounds like she's just free flowing in her cave, her cave of solitude, her fortress of solitude down in the basement of the ocean, as it
Yeah.
were.
Also, the classic in all writing about making musicals, the classic reason why people sing in a musical is because the emotion is so intense they can't just say it. And what's great about this song is, as much as it is pre-planned as we know, it's coming out of her thought process. Well, I have
Right.
this and I have that, and what else could I do if I had feet? And it's her free associating, and yet, of course, it's very, very, very planned out
The
and crafted.
the setting of this is also really amazing, right? Because it's like all these, things that she's collected, right,
Well,
from
and
the ocean
when you know
floor.
you're doing it in an animated movie, you know you can illustrate all of that as
Right.
opposed to the cost of doing a set on a Broadway stage.
Very true. Very true.
And that the camera, remember, when you watch a theatrical production, you're watching something within the proscenium, and actors have to do what they call draw stage or take stage or draw focus by what they physically and vocally do to get you to concentrate on one part of it. But a director can say, cut to the close up of the thingamabob.
Yeah, and that's why Howard
Exactly.
Ashman was really kind of enthusiastic about animation, because he kind of knew that, he kind of understood that language there, Lou, and how you could kind of leverage these ideas with the power of animation in a unique way that you couldn't necessarily do on Broadway or even in a contemporary live action musical.
Now, before we look at what I think is like one of the most amazing parts of Part of Your World, we're going to come back to it. I want, for comparison, to go to the title song from Wish, which is This Wish. Well, by the way, it looks like it's on Just Dance 2024. Oh, that's really gonna.
Is it too early in the day to have garlic and hold my fingers in a crucifix form to ward this off?
I mean, bless their hearts, they didn't really set up this woman for a lot of success here, other than giving her a Disney movie and a composer to go and do better instrumentation for this. So this one, we kind of get away from the idea of yams. You don't have to have yams. We just got through with Thanksgiving. Obviously, there may be no yams left. Isn't truth supposed to set you free? Well, why do I feel so weighed down by it? If I could show them everything I've seen, open their eyes to all the lies, then. Okay, that's an interesting.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Even ending with it, let alone then.
yeah. Would they change their minds like I did? When they speak, they tell me sit down. Okay, I'm sorry. Are you speaking? Are you standing up? I don't know. But how can I when I've already started running? Okay. And of course, the obvious one is that she goes ahead and starts running. Actually, I think she stops running at this point, and she's standing on a bridge. Whatever. So we're not going to go through all of them, but so I look up at the stars to guide me and throw caution to every warning sign. What do you throw caution to, generally speaking, in the idiom?
The wind.
Wind.
The wind to every
Oh.
warning sign. Okay,
So it's a caution sign on the side of the road.
right.
Warning, bad song ahead.
Better ignore that sign right there.
So bad.
If knowing what
it's
it
not
could
good.
be is what drives me, then let me be the first to stand in line. What?
Oh.
This doesn't make any sense.
Well, it rhymes with sign, so
All
does
right.
malign.
Well,
And here's the kicker. So I make this wish to have something more for us than this. What?
It works if you're drunk.
Yeah.
This wish.
well,
It's
this is kind of interesting because they're following this kind of new Disney trope of, all right, we're going to have these songs in these pieces, and they're going to be explainers for our story. They're going to set up our characters. They're going to like do the things that we necessarily can't do with screen time in these songs. So they're going to shove every single one of these things in there instead of letting Ariel kind of play out, and then the song was kind of over top of that, right? But she's pretty much set up by the time you get there, and now we learn about what she wants from this whole world. We're gonna put it all in this song, and that's what they're doing right here, and it is coming out like mud.
right.
Well, it's nonsensical. I mean, it's just it certainly doesn't work within the framework of the actions that she's doing, as Jonas pointed out.
It's a collection of random phrases that sound evocative, which, there's a place for songwriting. There's a place for that in songwriting.
Sure.
But in your pinnacle, in your prestige piece, in your colors of the wind,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Good.
Yeah.
Pocahontas. Oh,
this
my God.
is, and you could argue that probably sold $100 million of tickets right there. That
But
one
it should have
song.
been colors of the sign, right? According to this. because-
Yes.
Colors of the sign.
Well,
Yeah,
they throw
They
caution
don't set
to
up
the
Asha.
sign.
But let's just go through one little bit more of inanity before we
Please,
get
please,
back
please.
to the beautiful end to Part of the World. I never knew I needed room to grow. Who has said this? Who's what? There's no character development for this person. She's the same person at the beginning of the film as she is at the end.
Yes.
I did what I was told when someone told me no. Now I've got all this freedom. Where is it? It's in her bones. But I've got the lid on her bones so it doesn't overflow. I've got reservations and hesitations. No, I don't think you do. On where I should even begin.
She's making soup. She's got the lid on the bones.
And she's past dipping her toes in, but she's not past diving in.
Yeah, it's one of the kind of the female empowerment things where it's like, oh, it's in you. You just got to let it out. You just got to let it out. You know, it's what we saw in Captain Marvel. The power was within you. You just have to, throw off the inhibitors, or even New Mulan, for example.
Yeah. Even Let It Go is better than this.
Yes.
Yeah, much better.
My legs are shaking. My head's held high. The way you always taught me to. You taught her to shake her legs and held her. And also, it doesn't make
You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Obviously, I've been thinking about this for way too long. I'm just going to point out this genius right here. What would I give if I could live out of these waters? Mm-hmm. We have double rhyme within the phrase. What would I pay to spend a day warm on the sand? We have, again, internal rhyme that's matching the rhyme scheme of the previous line. Yep. But again, sand. Betcha on land they understand that they don't reprimand their daughters. Bright young women sick of swimming, women and swimming. Internal rhyme. Ready to stand. Oh, how many times have we rhymed stand, understand, land, sand?
It's amazing.
It's
reprimand.
You just go through this whole thing and it's like, wow, you didn't just spit this thing out. You probably spent a month coming up with all of these amazing lyrics. Yeah. And of course, I just have to point this out. I'm ready to know what the people know, asking my questions to get some. What's a fire? And why does it? What's the word? Again, going back to that.
Yeah, that weird cadence before.
Pretend stuttering. Burn. By the way, burn as if it's igniting the end of the song. When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore that shore up above, out of the sea? Wish I could be part of that world. And this is, of course, the, this is the explosion that then goes down to that quiet, wonderful little thing, and then they get into the music that's specifically Alan Menken, and it's just amazing.
Look at how he transitions too, from burn to turn to love to above. It's this seamless lyrical pattern there that just
Oh, that's right. I didn't catch that. Burn and turn is another rhyme that he's thrown in here.
But in the one sentence, when's it my turn, wouldn't I love? Now he's completely switched it to above. And then you get C and B.
This is, I think about the genius of these men. And for those of you who say we're exclusionary, and I've been getting chewed out on Twitter because I wasn't crazy of Wish and some of the things that Disney throws into their stuff. Yeah, I fully acknowledge that Howard Ashman was LGBT. Well, actually, LGB. I'm not going to throw the T on there for him. This guy is a genius, and
it didn't take him a month, Jonas. It just came from within him.
Yeah.
This is the way people who are geniuses think and emote and put it on paper. And yeah, they did a little refining.
And I suggest to all of us and everybody in the audience that you can't not hear that song as Jonas is going through it. In fact, you have to restrain yourself from singing the lyrics.
Yeah,
because it is enjoyable at every level. That songs like that are not being put together these days. You're getting computer aided, regurgitated garbage that follows a specific audio pattern so that it can sell on the charts for a week.
And maybe the real irony is that they were taking classic Broadway style and technique, and all of these Disney movies then became Broadway shows, taking it back home to where it was. And Wish will never do that.
No,
it won't even be a park show because you couldn't have people in 5 seconds. Their butts are getting itchy and wanting to go on and have some popcorn and ride a ride.
Well, the fact that they went out of their way, and Vash can probably speak to this, but they went out of their way to try to promote each of these songs individually before they released the film.
Absolutely.
And the not one of them is appealing to listen to in a vacuum, singularly. On your, if you had like a what do you call it, a mixed up version on your iPod or iPhone or whatever, shuffle. If you had your and one of the Wish songs came up, what's the likelihood that you would enjoy that to its ending? Probably not. You would skip it because they're really not attractive songs.
There are some songs that you get stuck in your head because they're beautiful and amazing, and there are some songs that you get stuck in your head because your brain cannot process the incomplete nature of
Earworm.
because you're trying to figure out why or what was going on in the composition of that song. Thank you so much for staying to the end of this video. If you like this video, consider hitting that like button because it really does help us out. Share it out on social media if you know someone who might be interested in this kind of topic. And by the way, if you want to know what's wrong with Wish, maybe go check out our videos that are talking about Film Thread. Film Thread has gotten the indication that Wish took only 3 months to animate, and they basically chained the animators to their desks, figuratively speaking. Of course, if you want to know more about that, you can go subscribe to Film Thread or subscribe to That Park Place, maybe do both, and stay here for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.